This is a video on how to deploy application software using Microsoft Intune. For this example today, we'll be using a native installer that is an MSI and using a number of tools to package the software for deployment using Microsoft Intune to devices. To get started, the first thing we need to do is prepare our area. So I start off with a local computer and I create a folder on the C drive, which is called support. Within there, I then create a folder called Intune, apps, and then inside that folder will be all the different applications I'll be looking to package. For this example, I'm going to use the Adobe Lightroom package. If we double click in there, you can see I've copied the full installer, install files from Adobe into here, so that includes any support files that it may have. As you can see, there's the setup, and there's also other MSIs linked to that file. If I go back a level, this is purely done for organisation. It will help further on through the video when we actually try to package the software. So if I minimise that for now, the tool we'll be using to package software is available from GitHub, and it is called the Microsoft Win32 Content Prep Tool. You can download this from the site. The link is also available below in the URL of the video. So what we'll do is we'll download that file, and for this example and for organisation, I've also placed that within my C support Intune folder, and I've created a folder and extracted the files called Win32 Content Prep Tool. So now I've got the prep tool downloaded, we need to now run that using PowerShell. So just make sure you open PowerShell as an admin, and we're going to navigate to that location where that prep tool is. From here, we then need to run the exe. Okay, it's now asking for me to specify the source folder. So that's the source folder where the application is, so the root folder. So I'm going to go into Intune, Apps, Adobe, Lightroom. And this is the root of that source folder where those files will sit that I need part of the installation. What I'm going to do is just copy that and paste that into here and press enter. It's now asking me to specify the setup file. So that's the setup file that we used. So if I go back to my window here and go into build, then I can see the setup files there. So if I just click with the address bar here and click backslash, that'll then give me the full path. I can then cut that and paste that in as well. Now it's asking for an output folder. Now this output folder is how the packaging tool will then create an answer file that we can then use to upload to Intune. For the output folder, I'm going to go back to the window here and I'm going to go back to the Intune level here, and I'm going to call correct file here and call it underscore output. Then double click into there and then copy that location too. Then I paste that in. Once I press enter, it will then ask me, do I need to specify catalog folder? For this example, I'm going to select no, press enter. The system will now start to put that together as a package, and you just have to wait for the counts to finish. While that's going on, let's have a look at the setting up a group so we can then apply that package to. So if I open Microsoft Edge, and I'm going to go to the following address, which is endpoint.microsoft.com. That'll then take me through to my endpoint for my device management. From here, I'm going to select groups, which will then show me all my groups within Azure Active Directory. I suggest using a naming convention for groups for deploying software to your devices. What we've done here is we've used Intune. As you can see from here, we've used the prefix Intune, the device type, which for this example is Windows, and then what it's doing, which is deploying, and then the package. So at the moment, we have all these various package groups for deployment. I'm just going to select the name here. Just take a copy of that quickly. We'll go back to groups and we'll create a new group. So all the standard settings that you see on screen. We'll then give the group name. So it's Intune, it's Windows, it's deployment, and then what the actual software is. So for this, we're going to call it Lightroom. And then you can give the package description. And for this, I'm just going to give the same description and the members assigned. And then all we have to do from here is click Create. Now that's important for later on, where we then assign the application to a group. So then when members are added to that group, the software will install. Now let's go back to our main window to see how PowerShell is getting on. So PowerShell now reports that the content prep tool has completed at 100%. We can now check that by clicking back on the main window. And as you can see within C support Intune output, which is where we have that output folder, there is now a file, an INTUNEWIN file there for us to now use. So if we go back to Microsoft Edge and go back to the endpoint within Azure Active Directory, we're going to select apps. From apps here, I'm then going to select Windows. And as you can see, I can see all the different applications here. First thing I'm going to do is click Add, because it's a new package we want to add in. And then the app type. From the drop down, the app type we're using is a Win32 app. So if I select that, it will then allow me to click Select here at the bottom. That will then load a new window. This is where we can then upload that app package. So all we have to do is click Select App, and then click Browse, go to your location, so it's Support, Intune, and then the output folder, and then I can see my output file for Lightroom there. Click Open. It will then just confirm through the details, the setup, windows, the size, and then hopefully you should then see the OK button is highlighted in blue. Select OK. From here, complete the details for the app information. So I've added name, description, the publisher. If I have the details for information URL, privacy URL, developer, owner, I can add those in and any notes as well. One thing you may want to do is add a logo just so you can identify the app through the admin console here. I'm going to select image. I've already pre-downloaded the logo I'd like to use from Adobe's site, which is just a simple PNG. So if I go back to Intune, I place my logo with Adobe, and there's a logo there I can use for Lightroom. If I click Open, that will then upload that logo to this wizard. If I then click OK, that will then apply it, which you can then see the logos there. Once you're happy with all those bits of information, click Next. Okay, so now it's asking for the install command. The install command is how the package was first installed. So I'm going to go back to my deployment here. Go to Intune, I'm going to go to Apps, Adobe, and Lightroom, and Build. Because it's asking for the install command, my install command is only going to be the last endpoint to the installation file. So all I really need to take is the folder above and the exe. So it would be build / setup. The uninstall command, we need to now look at the registry for what that uninstall string is. So all we have to do is open regedit. And just to make a note that when you open registry editor, navigate to HKey local machine, software, Microsoft, Windows, current version, uninstall. You'll then have a list of all the different applications that have uninstall strings. All you need to do is just click through each one of these until you then end up with the application you're looking to package. And from here I can see this is relating to Lightroom. And then all I need to do is find the uninstall string here, which is that. I double click that and I click copy. And I then paste that into here. And you'll notice if it's incorrect, your system doesn't like it because it won't show a green tick. Device behavior, for that, I always select no specified action. And here's some of the return codes. These codes would line up with Adobe, but you may want to add some of your own in if an application behaves slightly differently. Click Next. From here, I can then decide on this particular package what the requirements are. For this example, I'm just going to select 64-bit. That's my requirement, and then the minimum spec for Windows that it must be for the application to install. I can also specify applications not to install if disk space is low or how much is required. Please have a look in a different video for more details on this. Then let's click Next. Detection rules. We will now want to look at putting a detection rule in. We're going to select Manual, and from here we're going to click Add. Now the rule type we want to use is Registry, and the key path we want to look at is the key path of where this value is. So what I'm going to do is just copy right from here all the way back to HKey local machine. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste that in here. And that should go to a green tick. Now the value name is the value name we're looking for, and for that I'm going to use display name. And then detection method is if the value exists. So this is what it will check for whether the software has been installed or hasn't been installed. If this value exists, then it knows it has. And we're going to leave the associated 32-bit app and 64-bit app cards. Just leave that as the default value of no. Once you're happy with that, click OK. That adds the registry entry in. Now if I click Next, there's no dependencies. If I click Next again, and assignments. From here we can now add a group for the software, the application to deploy to. So all I have to do is click Add Group here. And the group we created, all I need to do is start to type in the name, INTUNEWIN deploy. And then I can see Lightroom. If I now select that and then select, that now means any device that is part of this group will then have the application deployed to it. And then from here you can then adjust the settings for how it shows the information, when it will try to install, and when the deadline for it is. Once we're happy with that, all we have to then do is click Next, review all the settings on screen. As long as we're happy, then click Create. It will now say it's completed the application successfully, and then you'll then see a prompt that it's now uploading the Adobe Lightroom Intune image package that we created to the system. We just now have to wait for that to finish. From notifications, you'll then see that the package has finished uploading. From the management console here, from where you see the apps, where you can see the device status of where applications have been installed, this can take some time to populate. Now all we need to do is install the application on our first device. To do that, all we have to do is go to Groups, and if I then select Lightroom there, on the left hand side I can then select Members. Once I select Members, I can click Add Members, and from here the device. So I'm going to type in SP, and that's our test device. That's a test surface. And once we then click Select, and say it's successfully added, and then you just have to wait for the device to pick up the update and start to install the package. So you can see what it looks like when an application has been successfully installed. I'm just going to take you to Apps over here on the left, and we're going to go Windows, and I'm just going to pick one of our Windows applications. So for this example, I'm going to pick Photoshop because that's been out for quite a while. And then from here you can see on the dashboard how many devices have picked up and installed the application, how many have failed, and how many where the devices are pending installation. And then if you select on the charts, you'll then get more details of which users. That concludes how to deploy software applications using Microsoft Intune.